Good morning, Dopey. Your favorite podcast. Now able to show.
Good morning, Dopey, and welcome to Good Morning Dopey, our deep yet shallow dive into the Daily Reflections. I left both of my copy of the Daily Reflections books at my dad, so we're reading it off the computer, and we're joined by English pop star Kavana. Welcome.
Don't say that.
Why not?
I'm not Coco Cabana. It's Kavanaugh. You know that, Dave. Come on.
I swear to God, it's like a fucking mental block. Kavanaugh.
Well, you just say Cav. It's easier Cav, isn't it?
I know, but I want to introduce you properly. You want to start over? Should we start over?
You did that on purpose.
No, I'm fucking an idiot.
Well, we know that. Yeah,
No, don't start over if you don't want. Kavanaugh. Think of the GH. Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh.
What's that politician?
Kavanaugh. I don't know. Who's the politician, Howie?
Kavanaugh.
There's a guy called Kavanaugh in the States. It's spelled with an A-U-G-H.
Do you know
He's a Republican. Kavanaugh.
Do you know Howie? Howie, why don't you pop in and say hi to Kavanaugh?
Hi to Kavanaugh.
Why don't you do? You can't.
Hi, Howie.
You can't do three, huh? No three shots.
Not easily.
All right, get out of here. What are you doing?
Why did you even come on?
I don't know. All right, so we're doing a daily.
Cool studio there.
I thank you. Me and Howie built it with our bare hands.
Howie and I.
Howie and I built it with our
Wow.
bare. All that the wood is flooring that we had to nail to the wall. But thank you.
It's
Thank
really
you. A
cool.
lot of work went into this Dopey studio, and I think we're going to move to our garage, which of course you English people might say garage, right?
Garage, yeah.
I
Garage,
keep
yeah.
I keep me carriage in me garage. Do people say that?
Garage in my garage. That's right.
So did you watch the Sex Pistols show on Hulu?
No, because Johnny Lydon has been on TV just saying, don't watch it, it's all lies. They didn't ask me to do it, and I'm horrified that they've done this, but of course I'm going to watch it. Is it good?
Nah, it's not good.
Nah.
It's not good, but I liked it. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
really liked it. It makes me sad that
Okay.
But it makes me sad that Johnny Lydon said that because
Oh, he hates it.
you'd think that him and Steve Jones were still mates, no?
He said that they just didn't ask him about it. He found out through a lawyer's letter, and he had no doubt. They're not telling the story the right way. They've Disneyed it, he said, or whatever they want to say, because Disney have taken. It's on in Disney Plus in England.
Wow, it's so foolish. It's foolish to me of Steve Jones and the producers of the show to not get Johnny Lydon in on it because he's such a big mouth. Like, how could they not know
Right,
that he
and
would
he's
go
the
bananas?
and he was kind of the face of the group, really. I mean,
He was the face of the group. And what's the guy, Malcolm McDowell? What's his name?
Oh, Malcolm McLaren.
Malcolm McLaren. He's behind it, though. He likes it, right?
Yeah, but Malcolm McLaren's died now.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, he was a great guy, Malcolm McLaren, genius. He was married to Vivienne Westwood for a long time, the designer. But yeah, he's dead, so they don't need to ask him anything.
So he might not like it. He might be rolling over in his grave. I don't
He
like.
would probably hate it as well.
Steve Jones must like it.
Well, yeah, because he's thinking of the money, isn't it?
And Chrissy Hines seems to like it too. But I want you to watch it, and then we can talk about it. Because Chrissy Hines is Steve Jones's love interest in the movie. So you watch it.
Oh, I see.
It's like
I'm going to watch it. It's on my list.
the reason I really didn't like it is because it just isn't as good as Sid and Nancy. So if you're going to make a show about the Sex Pistols, it has to be better than Sid and Nancy, or else all I was thinking was
You can't get
Say it again.
that was a one-off. I mean, wasn't Courtney Love in Sid and Nancy, or did I make that up?
She was one of the punk girls in Sid and Nancy, for sure.
And she's in London now, and she's all posh, and she's had her face done a bit, and she's all like sober, and well, I think she's sober, but she's very English. She drinks tea, and she goes to the NA meetings.
She's she's like an inch away from a cease and desist order against me. I've written her so many times. Oh my God.
Right.
Courtney, if you're watching, I love you. I will respect your English accent. If you need to drink tea when you come on Dopey and fucking what's another You do it.
She'll come on.
If you need to eat bangers and mash while we're doing the show, eat your bangers and mash. Be whatever you want. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll come on at some point.
She'll never come on. But Cav, if you see her at a meeting, be like, slip her the old Dopey.
I will. I'll say, hey, you need to get on this, this show. It's really good. She's on Instagram, actually. Maybe I'll message her. Maybe I'll DM her, but not drunk.
Nice. I used to DM her. She popped up following me years ago, and I DM'd her, and she talked to me, but I was so crazed. Like I treated her kind of like I would have treated somebody on a dating app, that I couldn't believe my fortune of talking to her, and I mishandled the whole thing.
No. I get like that with people too, and I'd end up just, sabotaging it. But she should understand. She's in recovery. She chants. She's she's serene, so she'll come around.
I don't know. It's like I sent so many. I had somebody helping me with my Instagram account recently, and she's like, maybe you should unsend the messages to Courtney, because you can unsend messages. So I sat there, I unsended 100 messages. I'm unsending them one at a time. So we'll see.
That's brilliant. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, unsend is the new thing. So yes. Anyway, today is what is today? June 26th or 27th?
26.
I think it's 26. Oh.
26? Okay, 26. You ready, Mr. Cav?
Yeah.
A gift that grows with time. For most normal folks, drinking means conviviality, companionship, and colorful imagination. It means release from care, boredom, and worry. This sounds like your alcoholism, actually.
It does.
It is joyful intimacy with friends and a feeling that life is good. And that's from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, page 151. The longer I chased these elusive feelings with alcohol, the more out of reach they were. However, by applying this passage to my sobriety, I found that it described the magnificent new life made available to me by the AA program. It truly does get better, and they put it and get better in quotes, one day at a time.
Okay.
The warmth, the love, and the joy, so simply expressed in these words, grow in breadth and depth each time I read it or read it. Sobriety is a gift that grows with time. Mr. Cav, what do you think? A gift that grows with time. What's your opinion?
I mean, I can say that now in hindsight, as even though I'm only 4 months back, but I feel I'm more solid than I have ever been in my recovery, because something just clicked this time. But yeah, I think it does. I think it does get. I mean, look, life's never going to be perfect, is it? But if you take the drink out of the equation and have some kind of a program, whatever that is, life does become more of a gift. Like like I'm looking at nature differently. Surprisingly, people are back in my life that weren't in. I suddenly have more money than I did. Like I'm getting work opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, so it is a gift. It sounds a bit corny, but I think it is, because you're not doing nothing when you're high or drunk or hungover or.
Yes, and I find that the more, like, because I'm so crazy, I forget half the shit I read. I forget half the shit I learn. But I find that like one of my big character defects is self-centered fear, and really nervous that things aren't going to go the way I want them to, or I'm not going to get enough, or we're going to run out or whatever. And when I talk to my sponsor, and also, Cav, you need to understand that I am very uncomfortable in this role that I'm in right now. Like, I never was comfortable to be like a fucking daily reflections reader by any stretch of the imagination. So like this whole thing is relatively uncomfortable, but it's worth doing. Like there's people that watch it, there's people that like it, but I know that from talking to my sponsor and from actually doing the work, when I'm confronted with self-centered fear and bullshit, I know what I can do to avoid it. I know, like,
which is what
you pray. You ask God to have self-centered fear removed, whatever your God is. If your God is the ocean, or if your God is the sky, or if your God is Jesus Christ, you ask your higher power to remove the fear, and it goes away. And then the other thing you do is you reach out to somebody else and you try to be of service. And those two things will solve any problem every time. It's amazing.
You know what? And it's funny because I had the conversation with my sponsor this morning on a similar thing, because I said, what does it mean, remove me from the bondage of self? Like, I have all these images of what that looks like. And he's like, well, he kind of said what you said. And he's like, you just got to pray, ask for that and help people. Now, in the past, he said, because my life, and this guy's like, he does really well for himself, but he's spiritually well. He lives on a huge estate. He had nothing at one point, but he's, anyway, financially and spiritually well. But he said, just by helping other people and praying, things come to you naturally because you're not blocking it by thinking of yourself all the time. Is that your experience? I think it might be a little bit.
It's an experience I never had before. It is not an experience I ever experienced before. I also was very judgmental about people who did service. I was like, oh, you think you're so great. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh, who do you think you are? Or who are you trying
two shoes,
who are you trying to impress? You know what I mean? I'm not, and then, I don't know, I always was told to do service. I barely did any. I never saw Dopey as service at all. I saw Dopey as self-serving because I wanted it to be a big show or whatever. But we read this thing the other day at the meeting where when Bill W was in the beginning, right? And he was not well, he was miserable and he wanted to drink and he hated himself. He like wrote, he's like, one of the things I did to feel better was I would go to the hospital to talk to drunks. He didn't say he did it because it was the right thing to do. He said he did it so he'd feel better,
Right.
So it's like, if you look at it as a tool, it becomes the right thing to do, and you get to feel better also, and you're doing something that's good for humanity. So it's good all the way around.
Right.
So the gift that grows with
because
time.
my head was like, oh no, I'm going to be wasting so much time helping other people. What about my life? What about my career? What about my this? But by doing that, things seem to be working out pretty okay today. Not tomorrow, but today. So it works, I think.
Shit opens up in weird places. You know what I mean? It's weird shit happens. And I also think the thing I thought before I ever was in recovery, right? When I was just kind of like, whatever. I learned like nothing in school. One of the only things I learned in school was that when you digest food in the small intestines, the reason it's so like coiled up is because it creates more surface area for reactivity of digestion. For some reason that stuck with me. The coil. So what that told me in my life was, like, when I first got sober and I was super bored and lonely and useless and I didn't know what to do, I was like, I need to see more people because it will create more surface area for reactivity. And I think helping people is the same thing. It's like, you got to get out there and you don't know what's going to come out of it for you, but we do know that that you're going to feel better because you helped somebody else, and you get to get out of your head.
Totally. And by feeling better, you might have confidence to decide to do something that's going to help you anyway. And you go for that job offer, or you know what I mean? If your head's in a better place, you're going to make better decisions that are going to serve you, right?
Exactly. That's the ticket. Thank you, Cav. Yeah. This was a very fun daily reflection.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll see you soon. And stay strong, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris.
Dopey, I'm face down on the floor. Dopey, please sir, can I have some more? Dopey.